This is Better Business Coach, session number 3.
This is the Better Business Coach Podcast, your source for critical sales training, proven education, and actionable worksheets, all downloadable for immediate use. We work hard so you don't have to. Now your host, the rapid growth guy himself, Matthew Pollard.
Hello everyone, and welcome to Better Business Coach. My name is Matthew Pollard, and as always, I am your rapid growth guy. If you haven't already, please take a second to subscribe to both the video and the audio version of this podcast. The audio will give you all of the ideology and training you need to be the most successful business coach possible, while the video podcast will give you step-by-step instructions on how to use the worksheets and templates that I have spent over a decade creating and perfecting. These are all available for download at matthewpollard.guru or betterbusinesscoachpodcast.com in the session notes for each one of the worksheets that we run through as we go through them. Now, this is part 2 of a 2-part series, so if you haven't already, please go back and listen to part 1 or episode 2 of Better Business Coach, where we cover off on why potentially you're not getting the results that you need out of your networking events. We also talk about the elevator pitch, or a 3-step elevator pitch that you can use when you're out at networking events to change the entire outcome from I deliver coaching, oh, okay, no worries, I had a bad experience with coaching once, and the conversation finishing, to really, how exactly do you do that? And getting the client asking you to tell you more about your products and services. This was a very simplistic approach and actually sounds very scripted. And the reason for why I started with that is I really want you to see how something as simple as that change can provide such a different outcome in any networking event. This will give you confidence that what I'm telling you about networking really works, and going into the next step, which is step 2, what we're going to be covering with you now, what Michael Port has coined the conversational elevator pitch, will make such a great deal of effect on the success of your business. Also, if you haven't had a chance yet, make sure you go out and actually take action with this advice. So many people are learners and learners only. Go out and actually use this information. If you haven't got a networking event lined up, go onto meetups.com and just find one that you can go to, and go there with the intention of just experimenting and practicing. Okay, let's talk about conversational elevator pitches. To do that, we have to do a little bit of preparation first. In the last session, we discussed the segments that you would work in, and we discussed that there could be several of these. What I want you to do is grab a piece of paper and divide it into 4 columns. And in the left-hand side column, write every one of the segments that you feel comfortable working with, or where you get your best results. This could be anywhere from a person that wants to start a new business to somebody that's been working in business for 30 years and needs help in getting out of their business, to somebody that's struggling in sales and needs assistance with that. In the next column, I want you to write what they were looking for when they started their business. Maybe they wanted to put their name to something, or maybe they wanted to earn the money that their boss was earning, or that they could see their boss earning from the work that they put in. Maybe they wanted a better work-life balance. Whatever you think it is for those segments, write them down. Quite frequently, a lot of the things could be similar, so don't be afraid to write the same thing twice. Next, write down in the 3rd column what challenges are preventing them from getting what they're looking for. And this could be unmotivated staff, struggling to find the right staff, no understanding of the sales process, systems that don't work so they're forced to stay in the office and fix things, poor financial control. The list is endless. Write down the ones that you think are most likely to apply to your customer segment. In the 4th column, I want you to write what the higher problems are, i.e. my staff don't perform, or I can't find good staff, which means I feel uncomfortable or anxious every time I leave the office, or I feel like I'm never going to get to a stage where I'm in control of my business, or I feel like I no longer am interested in my own business that I used to have so much care for, or I feel devalued, I've lost confidence in myself. These are the higher problems that people can really, really identify with you and think that you understand their problems and what's happening to them. These are problems that you may have experienced yourself some stage within your business. So don't be afraid to list some of the things that you really struggle with, because these are the same concerns they may be having. Okay, now that we've got this down, let's workshop what you say when a prospective person says to you, "What do you do?" Your response should be, "Well, do you know how a business owner opens up their business and they've got dreams of creating their own brand for themselves, getting that work-life balance that they really, really wanted, and earning the money that I guess they've seen their employers earn for years and years and years. But for some reason, they find themselves struggling with managing staff and getting them to perform, getting the sales that they need for their business, and getting the systems set up to allow for them to actually provide the services and products that they want correctly without things going wrong and customers getting upset with them." Do you know anyone like that? And what you'll generally find is that somebody will say, "Well, yeah, I have that problem," or they know somebody that does. What you'll then say is, "Oh, okay," and you'll then talk about the bigger challenges. And you'll say, "Do you find that they're always stressed out when they leave work because they're anxious that their staff aren't going to be performing while they're away, and they can never seem to take any time off, and they seem to have lost faith in themselves or confidence in what they're doing, and almost it's like they want to go back to work because they're just over the entire circumstance." And you'll generally get a response of, "Well, maybe they're not that bad, but, they do have this problem, and I agree with you here, here, and here." You can then respond by saying, "Look, let them know, or I want you to know that you're not alone. In fact, your problem is so common," and this is where you introduce what you do to fix it. "I have created a 7-session coaching breakthrough session that takes people from the brink of losing faith in their business to getting their business back on track, getting the structures that work, and actually actively working on their business, not in it." This has been so successful that I actually have got, and this is where you talk about the results that you've had, I have actually received results from my clients that give me a 92% success rate in not only paying back the services that I have charged for, but doubling their profitability within the period of that coaching. So there is hope for you, or there is hope for your friend. Then they'll reply, and this is where you transfer it into a potential sales opportunity for the future. If you're talking to that person, you say, "So there is hope for you. What I like to do is I like to set up a free 30-minute session where we sit down and we work out what your problems are and whether or not I'm a good fit to help you work with those, and whether or not my 7-session plan will be effective." And what I do is I do a full business needs analysis. This business needs analysis I will show you how to do in one of our video sessions coming up. So remember to subscribe to that. Then you say, "So what I will do is, how about I pull out my calendar, I've got some availability." You give them 2 options, a morning and an afternoon. So you can say, "I have a morning next Tuesday or a Thursday afternoon. Which one best suits you?" You get out your calendars and you book in the time there and then. And then once they book in a time, you say, "Look, you know what? I'm actually really excited about this because every time I work with a business," and you give them some example stories of other people that you've helped. And then you leave them with that note that they're going to get to sit down with you during this half-an-hour session. Now, don't give away all of the goodies of that session in that networking event, or you'll have no reason to catch up with them again. Start talking socially. The deal is done. Job finished. If you're talking to a person that isn't the person that has the problem, say to them, "Okay, well, I tell you what if I do this? What if I provide your friend my ebook or my white page on exactly how they can start working on this problem, as well as I will give them, on behalf of you, a 30-minute free session where we will talk about their issues and work out whether or not I'm a good fit to help them fix their problem. And if I am, we can discuss further the details of the 7-session plan that I have to absolutely transform their business." So what I'll do is, look, I tell you what, have you got an email address, and do you have their email address? And you grab their details off them and you send them an email, and you use the person's name that you met, saying that you're doing it on behalf of them because they felt that it would be a good use to this specific person. Now, I know people's worry of wasting their time going out and seeing people that perhaps won't have the money or perhaps won't engage with you. Now, I come from cold call sales, so my belief is that once you actually have a physical appointment with a person, it comes down to your ability to close as to whether or not you get the client. And with the business needs analysis that I'll go through with you in a few sessions, that's going to turn them into absolute putty in your hands. So as a result of that, you will be able to close that customer no problems. So my suggestion is book in as many people as you can, or send that email with the intent of booking in as many people as you can to ensure that you get the opportunity to practice the business needs analysis coming up and your ability to close, because trust me, that's going to happen much more frequently, and we're going to get your business to rapid success. Okay, so I hope you've enjoyed this session and I hope you've got a lot out of it. If you've had a chance to network already, I'm sure you've already benefited from it. If not, the main thing I want you to do is take action. If you don't take action, you will never get the success that I have planned for you, because taking action is the only way that you can obtain these skills, practice these skills, and obtain success for your business. The world of studying and continually learning to make your business better doesn't exist. Unless you actually take action to make this happen, it will never work. So make sure you go out and do that. And if you haven't currently taken action to subscribe to this podcast and the video podcast, do so now. And while you're there, if you're on iTunes, please do me a favor and post a review on what you think about this podcast. Any of your comments would be more than welcomed, as well as the star rating you feel that this podcast deserves. But thank you again very much for your time, and I look forward to sharing the next session of Better Business Coach Podcast with you. Cheers.
Thanks for listening to the Better Business Coach podcast. Head over to matthewpollard.guru for links, recaps, and any downloadable templates mentioned in this and every show. Also, if you've not already rated our new podcast in iTunes, we'd love your support. Simply leave a review and the star rating you think worthy. Hey, and don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss a thing. Thank you in advance, and see you next time.